Hey, Mary, thank you. Being co-pilot tonight. Hello, everyone else. We'll wait. We're watch the magical pictures pop up. Okay, we'll wait 30 seconds more. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mission Dharma online. Love to see as many faces as I can. And then, hey, Maureen, thanks for popping on. Anyway, I invite you then to unmute and say good evening to each other. Just delight in each other's voices, shared humanity. And maybe say where you're calling in from if you're so inclined.
Hi from
In Berkeley.
You're Vancouver.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Howard. Hey, Laura, I saw you say hello, but Baltimore, I guess.
Kamloops, BC.
Yeah, great. Love Kamloops. Hi, Barbara.
New York
Santa
City.
Barbara. Sorry.
Santa Barbara and New York State.
New York City.
New York City. All right.
Danielle in San Francisco.
Hey, Danielle. Hey, Heather. Welcome.
Katie from the Mission.
Hey, Katie.
Eugene in San Francisco.
Hey, Eugene. Hey, Dan. Okay.
Jason, Connecticut. Hello.
Hey, Jason, welcome.
How are you, Howie?
Even though your last name is spelled wrong.
And I'm not a Cohn either. Levi.
None of us are. Anyway, really happy to be with you. And as I have been mentioning more often lately, to me, the main attraction is just being together quietly, holding each other up, helping each other just come into a direct experience of reality, step out of the story of the world and into a direct experience of it. To see things as they are. That's the point of our practice. It's always arrived at in our immediate and direct experience. And shouldn't have to say it, but it's very rare in this world to experience things directly. We're usually filtering things through likes and dislikes, and yesterday and tomorrow, and often missing the accessible simplicity of the present moment. So all the practice that we do is in the service of returning to direct experience, to bare simplicity, and then letting the byproducts of that, which is a free heart, free mind, peace, let that all just happen of its own. So how do we come into direct experience of present time? We start with the simple, ultimate fact that we are aware. And let our eyes close softly, just delighting in that simple fact that we are aware, conscious. And we don't have to wander too far to find our sitting body. It's what's often most obvious of what we're aware of. The shape and the form and the aliveness, vibration, perhaps the discomfort, whatever it is, we let our attention come together with this felt experience of the sitting body. And notice that the byproduct of it, our attention and sitting body coming together, is there is a stilling, there's an emptying of our usual obsessions. And not because we emptied, not because we quieted, but not because we stilled, just because that's what happens when we're here in the experience of immediacy. So let your body fill your mind. Let your mind fill your body. Why the body? Because the body is here. This is our medium of experience. And you'll notice as you feel the sitting body that it's breathing. And we feel and we enjoy the body's experience of its own breathing. Without imposing any notion of what a breath should be like. And just let the body breathe and notice it directly. Not knowing about the breath, but knowing what the breath is experienced like right now. Just this breath, just this moment. Short, long, rough, smooth, deep, shallow, pleasant, unpleasant, whatever it is. This is the way the breath is right now. This is what being aware is like right now. And we don't look for anything but this. When sounds come, we notice this is what hearing is like right now. When moods come, this is what this mood is like. When thoughts come, this is the thinking mind thinking. This is what thoughts are like. Just continually being a knower of the way it is. Not knowing about it, but knowing how it is right now. Just this moment. Just what we're experiencing. Here we don't experience past except as memory, future is just as dreams. We just experience what we experience. Soft mind. But alert. Gentle attention, yet relaxed and precise. Feeling the texture of our body's experience of breath, sitting, or whatever becomes predominant. Continuing with the practice of immediate and direct experience, when you realize that you've been lost in thought, this is a moment of reawakening, of mindfulness coming back online. Just sense what that's like to wake up to where you are. Just see it as it is. This is what waking up is like. And then in support of remaining awake, we Just gently anchor our attention again in the body and breath. Just helping us to orient to the real, to what's here, just this moment. Just the breath, just the way it is. Body, moods, thoughts. Knowing what the experience of breathing is. Knowing what the experience of sitting is. Noticing what a pleasant feeling is like, what an unpleasant feeling is like. Noticing what hearing is like, the sound of silence. Whatever is here, immediate. Life just as it is. There's no higher mountain to climb. Since our practice has no destination except what is here and what's being experienced, every moment then can be a new beginning. You can always begin again. Aware, feeling the body, breath, or whatever's predominant, just as it is. Knowing this is what this is like right now. Just this moment. Real treat to sit with you. Feel the support. Just appreciate how the group practice kind of draws, at least helps draw me to just the fact that we're here, what I'm actually experiencing in this unfolding now, and very different than my ideas of life and the world and everything. It's kind of a return to simplicity. So I'm curious though, for you, any questions, any topics, anything that emerged in the practice that you'd like me to comment on, or any questions? And your comment or question will likely be of some use to someone else, so don't be bashful. Please use the raised hand function if you can find it. If not, put your hand up and I'll try to, Mary and I will try to find you. Happy to see David there in the middle, David Falzone. Long time. Always good to see David Harris too, right near you, the Davids. Melinda, please feel free to unmute and I'll
Okay, am I unmuted?
you are.
Okay, thank you. I don't even really know what I want to say, except that it was, I appreciated you, Howie, and the meditation tonight. And, I've done this forever and so not forever. So, I don't know. I just appreciated that I actually had a moment. A moment, more than one, but a few moments where I remembered I'm just right here, and I just am grateful for that. And thank you.
Happy for you. May there be many.
Thank you.
It's just life as it is.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Let me turn this.
The quiet is like this. Okay, last call, and then we'll move on to the same. Mary, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. Well, thank you. It feels really good to be here now and be here with all of you in this crazy times. But I'm also concerned. I mean, I've been trying really hard all along to kind of find a balance between, being aware of what's going on and, um, and staying sane, basically, and taking care of myself, especially with meditation. But I'm getting the feeling from a lot of people I know right now, and I think people are just overwhelmed and depressed with, the situation as it is. And a lot of people just seem to be completely retreating, like, I'm not going to watch any news. I don't care anymore. I don't think that's so good either. Maybe to some degree, yes, but I don't know. I've been an activist my whole life, and I don't like the idea of just rolling over. I don't think that's good either. So, I'm back to. I just think it's important to balance both, and not just want to go live in the forest kind of thing. What are your thoughts on that? Or anyone's thoughts on that?
Well, I listened to your comments with two different sets of ears in a way. One, my story, my likes, my dislikes, my preferences. On one hand, what's personal and what's me and what's the world and the people I care about and my story. And from that lens, I live in the exact same uncertainty about finding balance. And I mostly try to discover it moment by moment and try not to make too many conclusions about it, or apply or impose too many ideals about how it should be. And that's the world in general. And in a way, just make it up as I go and rely maybe, and this is what dovetails with what we're doing tonight, rely maybe more on getting comfortable or being okay with not knowing, with uncertainty. When I in fact, this was kind of I was inclining this evening to just come back to the straight Buddha Dharma, and I offered the instructions tonight with the leaning toward just experiencing life as it is. So when we experience the breath, we experience it just. Practice with the breath is not trying to fit our breath into a model of what an ideal breath and how you should breathe, but what is the experience of breathing. And in a way, the same is true with our life. Is the straight Dharma. I think I'm going to put you on since you were speaking. Since the straight Dharma is what is the experience of the world. As you described, you have these different moments of experiencing things. Moments of uncertainty, moments of overwhelm, moments this, moments. And that's really where we have to live with the Dharma. Because the Buddha was called the knower of the world. There's actually I was noticing the concept today, or the Pali word for it. It's loka vidu. Loka is the word for the world. And usually when we think of knower of the world, knowing what's happening in the world, that's not what the knower of the world is. The Buddha's knower of the world is knowing what's being experienced, knowing what it's like right now. And again, to know what it's like right now is different than knowing what it's like compared to the way I want it to be. That's more of the personal. That's more of the view of self that wants something that feels limited, or they're stressed out by something, that has feelings about something. That's much more the through the lens of the personal, that's all bound up with models of how it should be, views and opinions. That's Sakaya Ditti, self-view. But the knower of the world is, this is how it is right now. This is what's being experienced. And in a way, the knower of the world is knowing that there's pain and knowing there's pleasure, knowing there's gain, knowing there's loss, knowing there's birth, knowing there's death. It's really very simple. And if we lose touch with just the way it is, just the realness of the way it is, we get completely caught up in wanting it to be a certain way. And so that's getting caught in views. So I'm trying to stay in don't know mind, so that I'm brushing the dust of all my views as much as possible to just experience what's it like right now in the world. What's it like in this world of sitting with you, breathing, hearing. And somehow when I get a little closer to the way it is, something in me lets go a little bit. I'm a little more free. When I get caught up in how it should be, and I don't know that I'm caught up in how it should be, then it's very stressful. But when I notice, oh, there's my views, then it's just, that's how the world is right now. My mind filled with views. I'm not saying your mind is filled with views. I'm just saying one's mind can be filled with views. So I don't know if I said anything, but I'm just trying to be true to the essence of the teaching, which is see things just as they are. And partly what inspired me, I'll go to gallery view now, and so I kind of share this with everybody, is someone I'd been mentoring for many, many years, lives in New York, is not only a longtime yogi who's just done years of silent practice, but is also a translator of the Pali suttas, the Pali canon. And he's always unpacking the Pali words and finding appropriate English words to express the teachings. And one of the teachings from the middle length sutras of the Buddha, called the Majjhima Nikaya, you can all find, if you ever want to get into the weeds of this, the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length suttas of the Buddha, they're kind of the heart of the Theravada tradition, the tradition out of which all this practice that we do came from. But in the Majjhima, there's a teaching that talks about the Buddha, and basically, and this may not seem like it really captures how to deal with the world right now, but for some reason, the more I hear it, and the more I realize just the simple essence of the teachings, it somehow frees my mind of getting too bound up in my likes and my dislikes and how the world is and how I should relate to it and react to it. And it just brings it back to seeing it in its bare reality. So I don't want to lose that. And this sutta brings it back to the bare reality that if anybody has studied the teachings, the whole sense of ourself in the world is from a meditative point of view, it's a superficial view. The sense of me in the world is a superficial view of the sense of me is made up of contact and feeling and perception and mental formations and consciousness. flashing on and off all day long. It's called the skandhas, or the aggregates. So if you put our whole world under a microscope, what actually is experienced is just these 5 aggregates flipping on and off. That may not grab us in the way of the torments of the world and what to do about it. But it's because our mind has moved beyond these 5 aggregates into an elaborate version of ourselves and the world that gets created in our mind. The whole idea of a person is a thought. It's a mental formation. It's a creation. We don't actually in real time experience a person. We don't experience a me, a mine, a world of self and other. We don't experience that directly. We experience contact, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Arising, fading, arising, fading. All those, each of those 5 little aggregates arising and fading. But because of the proximity of our usual observation, which is kind of that why I said distant, superficial, more gross perception, the whole world shows itself as this sea of conflict. It's just a mess, and it's dukkha, and it's important that we know the dukkha of it too. The dukkha means it's hard to bear, it's hard to be with. But somehow being able to step out of the idea of the dukkha of the world into what's actually happening moment to moment, something in us gets freed up. So this sutra, the Buddha there's a dialogue going, and somebody asking whether the Master Gautama, that's the Buddha, does Master Gautama go to any view at all? And you can think of views, opinions, speculations, political, social, otherwise. Does the Buddha go to any view at all? And this person named Vacha says, going to a view, going to a speculation, going to an opinion, going to ideas, going to a view is something that the Tathagata, that's the one who has who has gone to the real, who's actually touched what's real. Remember, not the idea of ourselves, but touched ourselves directly. Going to a view is something that the Tathagata, or the one who has gone to the real, has put away. For the Tathagata who has gone to the real, remember, the real is the immediate and direct experience stripped of views and speculations. For the Tathagata, one who has gone to the real, he has seen this: such is form, such is its origin, its arising, such is its passing away. Such is feeling, such is its origin, such is its passing away. Such is perception, such is its origin, its passing away. Such are volitional formations, mental formations, such is their origin, such is their passing away. Such is consciousness, such is its origin, such is its passing away. Therefore, I say, with the fading away, try it even for a moment, with the fading away the destruction, the fading away, the cessation, the giving up, and the relinquishing of all conceiving, all ruminating, all I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit. Conceit is self-referencing, comparing. Therefore, I say, with the fading away, the cessation, the giving up, and relinquishing of all conceiving, all ruminating, all I-making, my-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit, the Tathagata, the one who has gone to the real, is liberated through non-clinging. I'm curious how many of you I've lost completely at this point. I think what it all comes down to is the Buddha, the one who knows in each of us, is liberated in any moment that we are experiencing our life just as it is. That when we're breathing, there's just the experience of breathing. When we're sad, we're just sad. When it's painful, and we open to the pain. This is why that wonderful poem from Pesha Joyce Gertler, The Healing Time, says, finally on my way to yes, I bump into all the places where I said no to my life. All the untended wounds, the red and purple scars, those hieroglyphs of pain carved into my skin, my bones, those coded messages that send me down the wrong street, the conceptual, the I-making, the mind-making, the underlying tendency to conceit, our mind's story about things. I'm editorializing. Those coded messages that send me down the wrong street again and again, where I find them, the old wounds, the old misdirections, and I lift them one by one close to my heart, and I say, holy, holy. So it's coming into the immediate and direct experience, which unfortunately is rare in this life. Just to experience things as they are. This is why it's so essential that we practice together. That we stay here long enough to brush the dust of our memories and just experience things so simply. And that also allows us then to enjoy the perfect, to enjoy the I-making and the my-making and the speculations and the views and opinions, but notice them as opposed to be lost in them, caught up in them. So anyway, David, please feel free. I'm glad something got sparked.
I'll just put the question really simply, but I'm struggling with how if you're acknowledging there is pain and suffering in the world, then how does one practice non-attachment when you're experiencing that?
I don't think that one practices non-attachment. One just experiences it, and the experiencing of things directly causes non-attachment. It causes us to see that whatever is there, it comes and it goes like changing weather. And the natural effect of that is letting go. That we start letting go of how we want the world to be, and we let go into how the world actually is. And so that is a kind of letting go. So practicing letting go is not imposing an idea of letting go. It is born of that simple experience of the five skandhas as they're happening, as the life as it's happening, both gross and subtle, macro reality and the micro reality. It's just the way it is. And it's, in a way, this is easy to talk about. It's different to actually see it in action. But if you really meet life that way, in a way that actually brings non-attachment as opposed to imposing if you bring, then the response of the heart comes much more, you just want to love, you want to help, you want to do whatever you want to do. And action flows a lot easier from not being stuck in a view of how things should be, what you want to happen. So I think practicing non-attachment just flows.
Yeah, I certainly understand what you're saying. I will say that, which anybody's been practicing for any length of time, I think, but certainly when you're really facing adversity in your own life, that's, good news, bad news. That's when the practice, I guess, really deepens, because then you look really hard at that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, and as far as Buddha Dharma, since this is kind of the context that we're meeting tonight, Buddha Dharma, what does the Buddha know? That the knowing, the Buddha knows birth and death. And somebody asked, I was reading some of the teachings of Ajahn Sumedho, who was one of my teachers for many, many years, and who just expresses the Dharma in a way that I feel. I can't express it in the way that he does, but it's just beautiful, organic, natural. And someone came to him and asked him if Buddhism has angels like Christianity. And the Buddha responded, well, we have the heavenly messengers.
Yeah.
But the heavenly messengers are sickness, aging, death, and somebody who has come to terms with those three, who has stopped the war, the renunciate, the mendicant. So these are the angels of the Dharma, are just experiencing life as it is. And so if we keep practicing that way, when the really tough stuff shows up, this last Saturday, I led a retreat in Tucson, Arizona. There was a woman who came up to me and said, this teacher many years ago said to me, and this teacher had been through just horrible challenges and difficulties in their life. And the person who approached me says, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was just, and the person offered the teaching. This is the way it is right now. And that one line, this is the way it is right now, which encapsulates the entire essence of the Dharma, completely changed her life. And so that's what we use as our medium. And I do feel as though that we can respond to our situation, to the world, to everything, to our own mind and body, when we can apply that view. This is the way it is right now. This is the way the breath is. This is the way it is, you and I talking right now. And in a way, don't look for anything but that. That itself is the springboard to letting go.
Thank you. That was really good to hear.
Thank you. Well, since we're back into the dialogue mode, anything else get sparked by the line about things just as they are? Keith, please feel free.
So let me paraphrase something that I'm taking from what you said and see whether I got close. And if not, it'd be an interesting discussion. So there are times in life where you have to show up as from a particular perspective or to explain a view or whatever else. But what I'm hearing is that if I can be aware that this is a view, it's not me, it is a view, and this is how I'm trying to express what I'm feeling inside or what I seem to really value. But I am larger than that. Then if I can express the view or the perspective or the argument from that point, I am far more able to be with wherever the conversation goes. Is that?
That sounds very wise and wonderful.
Okay.
May we
I'm
all
not saying I
able,
could do it. I'm just
may we all be able to do that more, be able to step out of our own views and opinions, because it's really the I making and the me making and the my making that it brings stress to almost every situation. And without, that line from, I've shared it before on Tuesday, it's from the Mahayana school of Buddhism. It's from the Avatamsaka Sutra. And it's just a one line. Having no view of self, one is always peaceful. It's been a good challenge to see, because usually if I'm not peaceful, I'm usually caught in some kind of view. Usually not just with life as it is. I'm not just experiencing the skandhas, the aggregates as they're occurring. I'm caught up in a story. And since we do get caught up in stories, whenever we wake up and notice, oh, caught in a story, that's the beginning of freedom. That's the beginning of peace. That's the beginning of being able to appreciate the views that are carrying, or the story of self. It's the beginning of compassion for the stress that comes with being somebody. But having no view of self, one is always peaceful. I don't know if that's useful, but I enjoy repeating it. Anyway, I thought your description was great. Wouldn't change a thing. Anybody else? Lisa, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. Keith just sort of was getting at what I was thinking when you were talking, which your talk really resonated with me today. I've been having so many views and opinions at work, and they've been causing me a lot of stress. And I've been trying to work with it and just being like naming it and being like, I've been all week, I've been like, unpleasant, unpleasant, like naming like the unpleasant feelings I feel in my body. And it's all around, like when you were talking, I was like, how am I supposed to not have views and opinions in my job and my work? or how do I guess, separate, I think what Keith was saying, how do I separate myself from those views and opinions? I get very tied up into them. And that's what's causing me this like tension. And I kind of know it, but I've just been having like a really hard time separating from that. But maybe that's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, this is the way it is right now, having a hard time separating, just feeling the dukkha of that.
Yeah.
And I think the aspiration to get some space around our views is good, but then it's the humility to just experience how hard it is in some moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for practicing in the marketplace. It's not easy. Yeah. Thank you. Ajala,
Hello.
great
Just
to see you.
you too, everybody. And I just feel grateful to be learning meditation. I just wanted to share. Yesterday I was getting a mammogram and then had to get an ultrasound after, and it was pretty kind of low risk, so I wasn't too worried, but I was feeling the stress, and I was able to I sat in a waiting room in between the mammogram and the ultrasound, and nobody else was in there. And instead of ruminating, I spent the time meditating, because I am really trying to do it every day anyway, and I have to squeeze it in sometimes. And it was just lovely to be doing that and to not be sitting there or stressing. And yeah, and it's sort of like I felt like after about 5 or 10 minutes, I downshifted into, it feels like that's what it feels like to me. It's like shifting into a different gear in my brain, and was able to feel that for a few minutes. And
Beautiful, beautiful.
just grateful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that practice in our life is in the doctor's office, wherever we go, wherever we are. It's a reminder that we don't have to wait till Tuesday night to downshift. We can downshift in the middle of walking up the street. I used to do walking meditation, walking up Dolores Street, and I was blown away how if I just brought a little attention to the steps and just entered into them, the same kind of meditative quality. And I don't want to romanticize the meditative quality. It's just mind simplified, everything simplified. And the body tends to relax when it's not complicating things.
Yeah. And I think it was more poignant even too, just to know, usually I would feel so much stress in that situation. And it was just the contrast was great.
Great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for reminding everyone to take their practice to the doctor's office. I hope your mammogram went well. Yay. Any last calls before we shift gears? So the Dharma is really about experiencing our life just the way it is. And I thought that I would end tonight by revisiting a teaching from Wes Nisker. Scoop Nisker used to be Spirit Rock teacher, passed away just the last few years. And he modeled this poem, you could say, or this writing after Allen Ginsberg, one of Allen Ginsberg's poems. And this one was entitled Why I Meditate. And it's very earthy. Even though I talked about the skandhas, it just comes down to just our life just as we find it. As Mary beautifully expressed early in the evening, what she was experiencing, just how it is. And Wes put it this way: I meditate because I suffer. I suffer, therefore I am. Therefore I meditate. I meditate because there are so many other things to do. I meditate because when I was younger, it was all the rage. I meditate because Siddhartha Gautama, Bodhidharma, Marco Polo, the British Raj, Carl Jung, Alan Watts, Jack Kerouac, Alfred E. Newman, et al. I meditate because evolution gave me a big brain, but it didn't come with an instruction manual. I meditate because I have all the information I need. This is a good one for tonight. I meditate because the largest colonies of living beings, the coral reefs, are dying. I meditate because I want to touch deep time, where the history of humanity can be seen as just an evolutionary adjustment period. I meditate because life is too short and sitting slows it down. Ajala, that was you. I meditate because life is too long and I need an occasional break. I meditate because I want to experience the world as Rumi did, or Walt Whitman, or Mary Oliver does. I meditate because now I know that enlightenment doesn't exist, so I can relax. I meditate because the Dalai Lama's laugh. I meditate because there are too many advertisements in my head, and I'm erasing all but the very best of them. I meditate because the physicists say there may be 11 dimensions to reality, but I want to get a peek into a few more of them. I meditate because I've discovered that my mind is a great toy and I like to play with it. I meditate because I want to remember that I'm perfectly human. Sometimes I meditate because my heart is breaking. Sometimes I meditate so that my heart will break. I meditate because a Vedanta master once told me that my Hindi name, Niskar, means non-doer. I meditate because I'm growing old and want to become more comfortable with emptiness. I meditate because I think Robert Thurman, who's a meditation teacher and scholar, I meditate because I think Robert Thurman was right to call it an evolutionary sport, and I want to be on the home team. I meditate because I'm composed of 100 trillion cells, and from time to time I need to reassure them that we're all in this together. I meditate because it's such a relief to spend time ignoring myself. That's a good one. I meditate because my country spends more money on weapons than all other nations in the world combined. If I had more courage, I'd probably immolate myself. I meditate because I want to discover the fifth Brahma Vihara. The four Brahma Viharas are love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. The fifth Brahma Vihara, the divine abode of awe. And then go down in history as a great spiritual adept. I meditate because I'm building myself a bigger and better perspective, and occasionally I need to add a new window. So may we all just be honest about why we meditate, but remember that the Buddha said that you know enough and to just see things as they are in this moment. And as always, we consider that there's been some goodness, some benefits, some blessings to being together, that we share them with everybody everywhere, and especially all the beings who are in the hot spots of the world, and all beings who are suffering, those who are causing suffering as well. May everybody be touched by love and wisdom and simplicity. May all beings live with ease. May our practice today and every day be dedicated to all beings. So, thanks for your attention. I'll pass it on to Mary for a few minutes. Please stick around so Mary can do her thing. And thanks for being the co-host.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Thank you, Howie. So I put in the chat earlier a couple opportunities to practice with Howie to meditate. Loving the House That Ego Built, Mindful Self-Awareness is this Saturday. It is both in person at Spirit Rock and it is online. So everyone can participate no matter where you are. The link is in that. And then on January 15th through the 19th, is an online retreat called Feeling the Heart, Awakening Insight.
It's actually Freeing the Heart. That's a typo.
Oh, whoopsie. Okay. Freeing the Heart.
No problem.
Who, me? Make a mistake?
Feeling the Heart sounds good too.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is online, and it's designed, has a unique design where it feels intimate and it makes sense for your time zone and all that other good stuff. And then just finally, an opportunity to practice Dharma. Donna has a way of, working with that mind of greed and kind of breaking that down. It's also a way of cultivating joy. So I invite you, when you offer Donna, the ways are all in the chat here, to really pause and just to sense that desire to give, the act of giving, and then afterwards rejoice in that you did give. So anyway, back to you, Howie.
Anyway, thank you, Mary, and thank you all for your presence, especially. That's the most generous act. And of course, any financial support's always appreciated for all of us. Anyway, thank you. Please feel free to unmute and say goodnight to each other.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Howie,
Thank you.
Thanks, Howie.
Everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Howie, love
Great
you,
to
Mary.
see you.